Hi everyone and welcome. Sandy here from Blooms and Lace Paper Creations. Today I am talking about the wedding box and album which I've called Our Love Story. So I'm going to walk you through how to put the box together, and I'm also then going to walk through the album just to give you a few tips on the things that I did for this album. So I'm just going to put that to the side just for a moment. I'm just going to go through the kit with you. So I just want to, I'll bring the kit over here just so I can talk to you a little bit about what's in the kit. With all of the kits that you will receive from me, you will get a full colour instructions and a full colour cutting list. So this is really important, and what I suggest is that you go through your cutting list, cut all your pieces and put them into page sizes. Now I do ink around all the edges of my papers, but I suggest you don't do that until you're actually going to put it on, because you may need to trim little bits off here and there depending on, you know, how you've scored things or how you've cut. The choice for me for the ink, I use Memento London Fog. Any grey ink, black ink, silver ink, whatever colour you want to use, you can use on that. So that's just something. What you will need to put this kit together, you will need your die cutting machine, because it does come with the die to cut your pockets and that. You also will need your paper trimmer. You'll need a scoreboard. You'll need your scissors, craft knife, strong glue. I recommend, these are the two glues that I use. I use the 450 glue. Very good for all your embellishments. It gives you that little bit of wriggle room before it dries. So the 450 is excellent for that. For your papers, definitely the art glitter glue. If you don't have these, you can find them on my website. The other thing that I will stress is, please do not use tape. Tape will eventually let go. So if you are a tape lover, you need to still put some glue on your tape. So you might as well just use the glue. Okay, the other thing that you will need is some mounting tape, and that's about it. Everything else comes in your kit. I'll just quickly go through it. I think there's about 29 sheets of pattern paper in there. So that's all your pattern paper, all your pattern papers in there. You also get your inserts, die cuts, everything that you need to put that together. There's a couple of templates there that I've used to cut the circles, so they're also included. The leaves are in there for the top of your box, so that's all in there. Okay, also included are these two die cut this one here is a chipboard and this one's die cut. You can use, I didn't use all of what's in there, so you can certainly add and personalise your album more with that. The other thing is all your laces and flowers and ribbons and everything also come. And then of course you've got your metal, which has got your hinges. It's got all your feet, the keys, the little door handles, everything else that you need. Also, I won't unwrap this, but this is the little front bit on the box. This little bit here is also included as well. And finally, you'll get a little bottle of silver Kindy Glitz, which I use to, you know, do highlights throughout the album, make it a little bit sparkly. So that's that. And of course, you will also get your Heartfelt Creations album, so you don't have to put that together yourself. All right, so let's move on. So what you will need to do, I'll just put those there. What you will find is your chipboard box. Sorry, I've got a bit of rain going on in the background here. I hope you can hear me okay. So it's all labelled for you as well. Sally does a great job there. So you've got your box, the base of your box. You'll have two smaller sides and you'll have two larger sides. You'll also have a box lid, which also in your kit you will get your sheet of acetate as well. And then you get the sides for the lid, so you'll have the two shorter sides and the two long sides, and they're all marked, so that should be pretty self-explanatory. You'll also receive two of these as well, and I'll show you what to do with those a bit afterwards. All right, so basically putting this box together, you will just take your box base. Now it doesn't matter whether you have this on the inside or the outside because you are going to cover that. So I'll just put mine on the outside just for now. And then your two shorter ends. You'll have your two shorter ends that go on the ends and then your longer end. To put this together, you need to put your longer end onto the side and glue that. So this will actually glue to the bottom. So it will sit down. So if you've got your table there, you're going to glue that to the bottom there. And then when I'll just turn that around. So you're going to glue that to the bottom there. And then you're going to actually, this side piece, it actually sits on top. So this sits on top of the base piece. The long piece on the side of the base piece, the short piece on the top of the base piece. And now you need to glue all that together, and then once you've done that, we will move on. Okay, so I've quickly just glued my two sides on. So once again, they are, you can probably see that they're glued to the bottom there. All right, so, and I did use my 450 for this one. The reason for that is it does set quicker and it tends to hold it in place. Okay, short side. So what you need to do with this one is get your glue. Now you need to put your glue on the three sides. So, so just put it on the top, and this is what I did to put the long sides on. I just didn't want to bore you watching me do this, but for this one I will actually show you. So I'm just putting it along the edge of the three edges, and don't worry if you go over, you won't see it because we're going to cover all that. Okay, now keeping in mind that this one here actually does sit on the top, so you need to sit it up on top, line it up with your edges and make sure that that's lined up nicely. I'm just going to pick that up so I can actually make sure that that sits in there really nicely, and then just hold it for a minute to make sure that it all sticks down. Any excess glue you can just wipe off. You can see that I've got plenty of excess glue there. Okay, so that I'm just showing you there. You can see that that is actually now glued on, and that's glued on the inside. And if it does move, like mine's just moved a little bit, just keep holding it until it is nice and secure in place. It should not take long at all. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. So I think you can see that pretty easily. So you need to do that for both sides. And once you've done that for both sides, that is the bottom done. Now the top, exactly the same process. So if you want to, I'm not going to actually do that right now. But if you do the same process, so the two longer sides, once again, go on the outside of the lid, and the two shorter sides go on the inside. So same principle as what we've just done there. And you can actually see that this one here is sitting up on top and these ones here are sitting down the side. I'm just going to put that closer to the camera so you get to see that. Okay, all right, so once you've done that, you will find, so I've just got a little wet one here. You will find that in your kit, you've got some black A4 cardstock. You need to get that cardstock out, and there is actually a list of what sizes you need to cut that. So I've already done that. I've cut all of my pieces, and you will also see that what I've done, I've asked you to score them in half. So when I'm talking about scoring, I'm talking about scoring along the long side, not the short side. So we're always scoring along the long side. And what these pieces are, I'm just going to score one for you. I should have probably had this done, but I just wanted to show you that that's how they're scored. So whatever the distance is, score it in half. So if it's a 2-inch piece, then just score it in half. Whatever I've said, just score that in half. So basically, very simple, score that in half. Now what these pieces, and you may need to trim them to suit your box. Every box should be identical, but it's just maybe if you've glued it a fraction out, these might be like, you know, a tiniest little bit you'll have to take off. So when you do that and fold them, what this is actually doing, it's actually going to sit on here. And what this is going to do, this is going to secure your box and hold it together. So there will be be one for each piece on the outside. So you'll have 4 for the outside, and the same principle on the inside. So this one here goes on and glues on the inside. So you need to do that for all sides. So, and then you will also have ones that are going to go on the top. So these ones here that are going to go on the top. So basically we're covering every edge and every corner, like every join. So every join. So you've got to make sure that you do this corner, and then you'll have another longer one that'll do that corner. There's no way of putting these in order. You just need to glue them in. So when it's done, basically you'll have black and you'll just have the square pieces, which the pattern paper is going to go over. So I'll just take this out, and I'll just go through that a little bit more. Let's take that album out. Just put that there. Okay, so when you've and you will notice if you have a really close look on this box here, on the corners there's 4 little tiny pieces that are just going to go and cover your corners. When you've covered it all with that black cardstock and cut your pieces, because you do have to cut pieces to go on the side as well. I've got some here. So you've also got these pieces that you're going to cut. So once you've got this on the outside, where's the smaller one? Sorry, I've got a lot of stuff here. Can't even find the piece now, sorry. Here we go. Okay, so once you've got, and then you're going to put these pieces on. And as you can see, these are a little bit small, but keeping in mind, once you've done your piece here, because you've got to do these sides as well, this will go over the top and will cover your box. So that's how that works. So you've just got to make sure that you get all these pieces on first, and then put your larger pieces on. You will cover the bottom. You will also cover the inside of your box as well. So you're going to cover that and the bottom, all the sides with the larger pieces. If you have any little bits left over, any tiny little corners that have been missed, just either get a bit of black gesso, a black Nico pen, some black ink, and just cover those pieces so you can't see them. I think I had 1 or 2, but then I found when I put my feet on my box, it covered them anyway. So once you've done that, you make sure you put your pattern paper on before you put your feet on. Otherwise you'll have to cut it in and around your feet. So the pattern paper goes on. Now, once you've got your box and your lid assembled, you will need to also, I will mention something before we do that. You need to put in your piece of acetate. So you just need to put in your piece of acetate and then your pattern paper. So you'll need to cut the cardstock, you'll need to cut that as well. One thing on this side here, what I did do before I put this particular piece of pattern paper on, I glued my piece of ribbon into the lid, put a hole through the box, put the ribbon through the box, glued it to the side. So I actually had, probably this much just to give it that extra strength. And then I put this piece of pattern paper on the top. So that's something to remember. Make sure that you put your piece of ribbon in first. So you might want to leave this piece off until you've got the rest of your box assembled. On the back here, you will find you've got these 2 pieces here. You need to glue those together. I've actually painted them with white paint or gesso, and then I've used the Kinderglitz to go over it. Make sure that dries fully before you do put it on. And then with your little brads, I've put those on and glued those. So they need to be glued on because that's what's going to give you the strength. And the same here. I didn't put it through the pattern paper. I didn't feel the need to do that, but you may want to do that if you can line that up properly. But I found just by using the 450 glue, that's really held that quite well together. So you can see now that hinge is working really quite nicely for your box there. And it does fit quite tightly. If you put too much pattern paper on, you are going to have that little bit of catching. So that is why when you look at, I've left that bit of a black edge there just so that catching doesn't happen. So you may want to just make sure when you put your pattern paper on the front, that you trim that down a little bit, because you don't want this this lid catching on that pattern paper. As for decorating the front, fairly simple. You do have this die cut. If you wanted to, you could Kinderglitz that as well. I chose not to, and then just add your flowers. The one thing I will mention that you may want to do, which was an afterthought for me, this particular thing here, whether you would turn it and put it this way. So your box goes this way and that goes that way. So when you're looking through into the box, your album's sitting up the right way. I didn't do that. Yeah, but anyway, that's something that you could consider if you're wanting to have it so you look through into the box. Apart from that, I think pretty much that is the box done. You can use this die cut as your template to cut your corner out, or just measure it and cut your cardstock. All right, so that's pretty much the box. Now, if you do have any questions when you are assembling your box, please just message me. I can always FaceTime you, show you exactly what I mean if you didn't quite get what I'm talking about here. Sometimes it's quite daunting when you're sort of looking at bits of chipboard and not knowing quite what to do. So that's what I've done there. So basically, last thing, just glue your feet on, decorate your lid, and your box is done and ready to go. All right, I will do a quick walkthrough of the album as well. Just a couple of little tips that I wanted to talk to you about. When you're putting your cardstock on the side of, the spine of your book, you need to make sure that you glue it. I'm just going to open this right up. You glue it down quite well, because otherwise you're going to have little problems here. You might get a little bit in here that it will pucker up, and I've just noticed mine's doing that, so I'll have to just get a little bit more glue under there. But apart from that, it should be quite smooth and quite nice. So you do put the this black cardstock on first, then before you put your pattern paper on. So the black cardstock, the pattern paper, the lace, and then obviously the bling goes on last. And then the same on the front, but on the front then you will use your flowers to decorate. This here is the smaller one of, I'm actually going to glue mine down once I get the photo in there. I've just left mine not glued just so I can show people that this photo, I've just taken it out in case I don't use this particular photo. But anyway, so that's just to show you. I've put this up on mounting tape and left the top open so I can slide that photo in and out easily. If you're giving it to someone as a gift for them to put their own photos in, that's something you really need to keep in mind. And then once they've got their photo in there, they can glue it down. You could glue the sides down, but just don't glue the top. I've just left that so that photo can slide. All right, so moving on the spine here, I've just put that chipboard piece directly on. I've glued the chain and then put the flower over it to hide where I've glued that chain bit on. On the inside, the one thing that you do need to be careful of is when you're attaching your pages to your album, you need to try and keep them to the outside of the page as much as possible, so that this doesn't foul when you're turning your pages. You don't want it to be catching and then it's turning your pattern paper up. So just make sure you keep this as far to the outside as possible, and then you won't have that problem. Magnets, of course, when you attach your magnet and washer, put your insert together, and then you can easily line that up. So you put your washer on here, then you can put your pattern paper on, then you can put your magnet on, and that will be right in the right spot for doing that. So that's just a tip doing that. What else did I need to quickly tell you about this album? I don't really think there's too much else. Oh, a little how to put your little handles together. Okay, so you will get the plate and you'll get the brad. All you need to do is feed that brad through your plate, fold it back, but just leave a little bit. I'll just get this up so you can see that. Just see at the side there, I've got that lifted just a little bit so you can see that it looks like a little handle. So you just need to do that, and then you just glue it down. and that'll hold there together. The holes, I've already put the holes in these little metal plates for you, so that's all done. You can add many more die cut pieces than I have if you choose to, but basically that is it. I don't think there's anything else I need to tell you. I hope putting this box, showing you how to put this box together helped you. It's quite simple, but if you do get stuck, please give me a call. All right, well, I'm going to leave you to assemble this beautiful album and gift box. And if you're looking for any more of my albums that are for sale, please check out my website, www.bloomsandlace.com. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.